2018. It's good to be back with the boys here on Picking Winners. It's Holden, it's JBC, it's Statsational. And yes, like I said, we were a minute or two late because we were discussing elk, among many other things. Statsational down here. What is that in the background? It does look like 1920 Savannah. What's on your television
No,
screen?
I don't know. I just put on some it's some cabin scene with a little snow. It's hard to really see it. I don't know. Maybe we'll be doing like a different scenic thing in the background. I should be promoting like RPS Sports, but we'll run pure.
I was going to say RPS Sports is redundant.
Yeah, it's kind of redundant. Yeah. You know what it is? I'm reading the logo on our screen here. So
Right.
I was speaking quickly. I said RPS, and then I see the sports there. So
right.
No one cares. So that's all right.
JBC, wonderful to see you as well. And for those that don't know, if you're just joining us in the last week of the regular season, we talk about every NFL game. And this week, JBC is going to the national championship game at Washington, Michigan. So we'll get everybody's thoughts on that as well. But yeah, JBC, we were talking about elk beforehand because I like hiking and Stats needs a background. I took a beautiful picture by a lake in the middle of Colorado. Thought I was going to die, to be perfectly honest. This was a couple months ago. Thought I was going to die. Everything worked out well, but you asked me if I've eaten elk. I have eaten elk. I'm just not a big elk fan. I don't like deer. I don't like elk. Anything from that family, giraffe, none of that tastes good.
You think elks are related to giraffes?
I mean, it looks like, kind of looks like.
Had giraffe? You've had giraffe?
Can you do
I have
that?
not had giraffe.
No.
Oh, okay. I don't know if you can legally.
That can't be legal.
Well, not in America. I'm sure like in Africa, you can eat a giraffe, right?
Have you been to Africa?
I've not been to Africa. My grandpa was in Africa. He ate camel during World War II, though. And he said it was not delicious, but it was the only thing they had to eat after a while. So they just, they munched on it and had a good time. But you were talking about your experience at Disneyland, I believe, where you actually, would you eat giraffe?
I think it was gazelle. Gazelle?
I
think it was
really?
I want to say it was gazelle. I'm not like 100% sure. It was, the African themed restaurant they have there. It's like, I want to say it was gazelle. I mean, but all those things taste very similar. They're all very gamey, and I like gamey meat. I think it's good. So, it's like it tasted similar to, like I had kangaroo in Australia, venison here, elk, kangaroo, gazelle. They're all going to taste similar.
I know horse meat is legal in Canada. That I know. Quebec, I think it's like a big delicacy.
I've not had horse meat.
Wiley, I do know someone that had horse meat. Yeah, the person
there was a big story on that on Real Sports with like a lot of the thoroughbred horses, like after they were pretty much done, that they were getting sold up in Canada.
Well, that's what I said to Tony. That's what I said to Big T. I'm like, dude, are you gonna slaughter the horse if it loses? Like they ship them up to Calgary and they shoot them in the head, and boom, they sell them as steaks over in Belgium. I'm not a big horse eater. I don't like horses, but I want to eat one.
Calgary,
nice.
That's interesting. Calgary.
You ever been to Calgary?
I've not been to Calgary.
Yeah.
But
how's your mom?
That's 2 nights in a row.
How's your mom doing? Is she watching?
She's probably watching. She's doing good.
Shout out. Hope everything's going well, JBC.
Wiley was shouting at my dad on his show. Everybody wants to shout out my parents.
Well, your dad's never said anything about our show. You've texted me a couple times saying your mom enjoys the show.
My dad does not watch our show. My dad does not watch anything I do.
But why would Wiley call him out then? Was he just
my dad, is because we hired the guy from Golf Digest, and my dad is obsessed with Golf Digest.
I didn't know we hired him to Golf Digest. Is that Andy?
Yeah, it's Andy.
Andy was with Golf Digest. Pretty cool. Will you guys stop talking about glue in the chat? I don't know what they use for glue anymore. I don't know why it was a cow, though. Stats, is your significant other watching the show? Is it still a significant other?
Yes. I don't know if she's actually watching, but probably will come back and watch to make sure that you don't bring her up, and you just brought her up. So thank you.
Well, I'm not going to dive into it. I'm just saying you're another couple weeks closer to a ring.
Yes.
And I do recommend don't use a blood diamond. Use the fake lab grown stuff. It looks exactly the same, half the price.
If you don't get a blood diamond, it's not, you're fucking up.
I've been asked not to get a blood diamond, which was one of
the that's just her being nice and not wanting you to spend a bunch of money.
No, she's a bleeding heart, kind of like you.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't want my diamond coming from a one-armed child with 3 toes. You know,
Yeah.
he doesn't want that. I think that's good. I think that's just fine. Stats. Your thoughts on lab grown versus blood diamonds?
I don't even want to make these comments public because whatever women are watching this, but yeah, I think it's absolute idiocy to pay the kind of money that people pay for fucking rings. They can put a down payment on the house. If you want to get me on a whole rant about women and weddings, I mean, by all means, because New York City weddings, New York City weddings are like ridiculous. They're like over the top. You're familiar.
My wife is listening
money
right now and just laughing at him.
It is a ton of money for not. I got to tell. I remember when my buddy was getting married. He shoots me an email exchange between him and his now wife, and she literally said this in the email. She said, "This is not only going to be the greatest day of our lives; it's going to be the greatest day of all of our friends' lives, also." And I said, "Dude, I love you guys, but I guarantee you, this is not going to be the greatest day of my life."
Oh, you did say you had a really good time at my wedding.
Of course, I had a great time. I loved it. I had a great time at your wedding. Me and the bartender got to know each other real well. I never left the guy's side.
All you gotta do to make people happy is open bar top shelf, and everybody's gonna be great and have a great time. It's the easiest gig in the world.
That you need good. Yeah, that's it. You need to have good liquor, good music, and as long as the food, not the food, but the company's good. Even if the food sucks, no one really cares. But if you've got good people with good music, I love weddings. I mean, I have a great time, but man, people go out of like the shit that people spend money on, and they know they've got you by the short hairs with what they charge you for everything at a wedding. Weddings and funerals, they've got you by the balls.
Well, yeah, and then they make you pay. Like the people that are getting married make you pay extra money because the wedding is nice. Like a destination wedding, screw you. I don't care where it is. I don't want to fly to your wedding. I don't care. Enjoy the sex, leave me out of it. I'll send you a gift and I'm done. I don't want to go to a wedding. A destination wedding sounds off. And Stats, right by you, Huntington Townhouse. My uncle used to own that thing. And
oh, really? Okay.
I just saw awful people having weddings, being lavish, people throwing up all the time. It was the worst thing in the world. The whole concept of marriage. Let's just get rid of it already.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to go that far.
Why not? They are a waste of money.
I'm just going to say the actual. Well, I'm about as devout a Catholic as they get, but I couldn't tell you the last time I saw the inside of the church, but no, it's the wedding. I'm fine with the marriage. It's just the wedding that's the whole. And I'd rather just have a party with friends and make it real casual and let's just have a fucking good time as opposed to.
I love my wedding. We spent a bunch.
No, your wedding was awesome. It's not that
my wedding.
I like going to people. I don't like going to someone else's wedding, but like the fact that like these women go crazy.
It was great.
No, we had a great time at your wedding. There's no doubt about it. But again, I'm just saying, if you see the price, especially in New York, what they pay, and then in New York, you give cash. Like you don't give. Like that's a thing. Like I didn't realize this until I went to weddings outside of New York that you don't give the envelope with cash. You give like people register or some shit and you give them a toaster. I never understood that concept. So all I knew was I asked someone one time, like when I was younger, I was going to a wedding. I'm like, yeah, how much, this is the type of friend, like you have to grade it. Like how close of a friend it is. Is it family? And then what's the going rate? So I asked someone, I go, what do you think I should give? And she's like, well, did they register? I'm like, register. I go, I'm talking about, cash. Like what's the going rate now? I don't even know because like, once you're out of your early 30s, that's like between late 20s and early 30s, that's when you go into the most weddings in your life. And so you kind of know I don't even know what the going rate is right now in New York for like an average friend, how much you're supposed to give per person.
In New York like a month ago or 2 months ago. And I'm trying to think of maybe $250, something like that.
Per what you gave 200?
Yeah.
For just you?
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm wondering, and I'm trying to think if me and my wife both gave $250.
But what if you're like a trailer people, right? And not saying anything's wrong if you're in a trailer. What up?
It was all rich people, so it was.
So you don't? Do you adjust to the class of person? Like if it's a trailer person, is it $25?
No, I mean, well, I'm sure some people do that, but I would not adjust personally.
Well, back in the day, what my grandmother always told me was they would leave the envelope open. and then you'd fill it with the most that you were going to give, and then you take money out as the wedding sucks. Like that was their move back in the day. They're like, oh, they would take out $10, like, oh, food shit. All right, $10 is coming out of the envelope. That's how the old school. That's how they used to do it. But you kind of know, like you said, like Huntington Townhouse. Anyone in New York knows Huntington.
Yeah,
that's a pretty good place, and like all the big catering halls in New York, you kind of know going in what to expect. You've been to all those places, so you know what. That's what I'm saying. There's like a going rate, so you want to at least cover your plate. Back, 20 plus years ago, it was $200 a head was minimum. So if I took a date, it was going to be like a $400 gift for an average friend. So now it's got to be, I don't even know.
Let's not ignore Christine here.
What did Christine say?
You want to talk about being born with a silver spoon in your mouth?
Oh, Christine knows all about Long Island. Christine knows the Huntington.
$70K for
$7,000.
That's typical New York, yeah. And now everyone's got. Now you've got
my 16th birthday. Oh my god! I think my brother attacked one of my friends with a golf club, and we were just like, really fucked up. Parents like ignored that it even existed.
So there was an assault with a golf club at your 16th birthday because you were too drunk?
Yes.
Love it. That sounds absolutely amazing. I no longer have a friend because he decided to book his wedding on the Sunday of the Elite Eight. And I'm like, I'm not going to your wedding. This is not going to happen. I don't even think Kansas was in the Elite Eight. And I was just like, I'm not going. It's the Elite Eight. I'm sorry. You're important to me, but you're not as important as the NCAA tournament. And people just don't understand this. And I don't understand why.
I remember, so when I was getting married, my wife initially wanted to have a fall wedding. And I was like, no, we can't get married in the fall. Like, that's not happening, like under no circumstances. So, we had a rather long engagement because then I had to wait until the ensuing.
You waited right till after the NCAA tournament. It was the end of April.
End of April is the best time to get married.
Yeah, perfect. There was no Masters. It was like you're kind of in between everything. No one really, baseball's not that big a deal right then.
Right.
Yeah, it was perfect.
I have a lot of friends who, they will just schedule their wedding for a Saturday in the fall that their team is off. Right.
It doesn't matter. I'm not going.
I'm like, that, fuck you. Like, I don't give a shit if UGA is not playing on this specific Saturday. That has nothing to do with me. And, you're scheduling a fall wedding is the most dick shit you can do.
End of April, July. 2 times of the year you can have it. That's
July is hot. You can't really do black tie in July. It's like one of my friends did black tie in July, and I thought I was going to die because it was
black tie is another rude thing. Like
100%
requiring people to go black tie.
Yeah, it's bullshit.
Is rude.
I'm more comfortable in a tuxedo than I am in a suit anyway.
Yeah, but that's fine. I own a tuxedo. Not everyone owns a tuxedo, and now you're forcing people. But now you're forcing people to go out and spend, and it's an extra expense.
It's
bullshit.
I don't personally mind.
No, I don't mind wearing it either. I'm gonna throw a suit or a tuxedo on either one. It doesn't really matter, but it's bullshit. At least make a dark suit optional where you can wear dark suit, dark tie.
Why wouldn't you just go to the Southern Hemisphere in July? Because it's winter then. And if you're like Christine and your parents are going to spend $70K, you could just easily get a destination wedding down there and fly a few friends out. So I don't understand. I think you guys are thinking about this all wrong. You're not going to have a July wedding in the South of America, country. It's just not going to happen.
There's a lot of those, and it sucks.
Oh, it's awful. Why would you? I don't even think I'd want to go to one of those.
I am married to somebody from the Southern Hemisphere.
Oh, where? Ecuador? Is not
Australia?
Huh?
Australia?
That's even better. Why didn't you go there during July? That would have been terrific. Does she speak Australian?
What?
Does she speak Australian?
That's not a language.
So says you. She has the accent and everything. It says crikey and bullshit.
She's more American than all of us.
Her dad does. Her dad does. Her dad sounds like Crocodile Dundee.
Well, what about her?
No.
So she's not really an Australian.
Been in America too long. She sounds normal.
All right. Well, it's that time to get into the slate. We have gone down the rabbit hole enough. So let's talk about Week 18. JBC, before we get into it, real quick. Week 1, Week 18. Where do we have the edge as people that actually bet and follow these things?
I think the 2 biggest weeks that have the biggest edge are Week 1 and Week 18, just because, there's so much incomplete information that you can take advantage of. Whereas most weeks, everybody kind of knows what's going on. And, the lines are a little more accurate. But going into the first week and then right now, not knowing what teams are going to rest who, I think this is the biggest edge of the season is week 1, week 18.
Where are you on that, Stats? We got a big edge this week?
I like to think so as well. And I agree with what JBC's saying. And part of that reason is early in the season, teams or bettors overreact to what happened last year. So that's what happens in week 1 and 2. You used to be able to just blindly bet against playoff teams when they were playing non-playoff teams, and that worked for a good long time. ESPN caught on to that, and it's kind of it's leveled out. But now, when you look at week 18, almost everyone will pick again, as long as if there's a team playing for something against a team not playing for anything, almost everyone loves the team playing for something because, you've all watched sports for how long? The team playing for something always wins that game, right? They always win. Like the team no one ever gets upset by a team that sucks and knocking everyone. And then on Monday, we're going to go, I can't believe that team just lost. Like they needed that game to win. I can't believe they lost to that shit team. Like, Arizona just did last week to Philly.
You definitely could for a very long time until probably last 2 or 3 years. You could blind bet against the teams that were playing for something on the teams that were not playing for anything.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, let's get into it then. I ran my bets across JBC. We'll see if he likes them or not. Steelers, Ravens, 2 games on Saturday. We'll start with this one. Steelers, Ravens. This line, you can get a 3 or 3.5 with the Steelers favored on the road. Snoop Huntley is going to be under center. 34.5, 35 is the total. It's interesting. 3 of the 8 starts Huntley's had have been against the Steelers. You had 16-13, 16-14, 16-13, the final scores. Absolutely fascinating. Anyways, I jumped on this thing at 4. I wonder if you think backing the Ravens at home, even with their backup quarterback at 3 or 3.5, is a good idea, JBC. What do you think of the total, too?
Yeah, I like the Ravens here. Tyler Huntley is better than Mason Rudolph, so you're getting the better quarterback as an underdog at home. I don't see any reason why you would back the Steelers here. It's not like the Ravens aren't going to be fucking trying. Certain players will be out, but other than Lamar, it's not enough for them to be over a field goal underdog at home. It doesn't make any sense.
These 2 teams hate each other, too. Let's not forget, the Ravens backups would be more than happy to send the Steelers home. Like there is some motivation there for them too. It's not like they're just going out there. Guys that are backups are playing for their next jobs. Stats, what do you think about this spread? What do you think about this side? Saturday's game, Pittsburgh at Baltimore.
Yeah, I don't love it, but I do like it. I like Baltimore as well. And I think the line has kind of moved in that direction also. And I know a lot of squares were taking this at -4. And we've even seen it come down now to 3.5. So I think Baltimore is the sharper side of the game. I like the Ravens again. I agree. The better quarterback is on the Ravens side, regardless. So I think the Ravens come out, they win this game, and with this kind of a rivalry, they would love nothing more than to just knock Pittsburgh out.
I'm going to make JBC.
Although it could hurt them in the future. We'll see.
I am going to make JBC happy. The other Saturday game. Now, JBC's old school better, driving around shop to shop in Vegas, 469, 470. The Houston Texans at the Indianapolis Colts, my friend. How does that make you feel? Now, here's another one. I got on the Texans when this thing dropped +1. You can basically hit the money line at this point. It has now moved to Texans -1. I don't even know if that matters. The money line would probably be the place to go at this point. 47.5 is the total. Here's another game where it's CJ Stroud. He's back. I know it's a big game. This guy is he's proven everything he needs to prove every single week. If we're looking at the quarterbacks, Houston has the better quarterback. If we're looking at the coaching, all right, I think we got kind of a push there. But if you're just asking me the better team, I think it's the Houston Texans at this point. Which side are you on? What about the total, JBC? Because it's a nice higher total.
Yeah, I think we're going to get a shootout, and I think the Texans are going to win. Stroud being out there is very important. The Colts defense is just so bad, and I have a lot more faith in the Texans, both on offense and defense. So to get them in a pick'em scenario in such a when both teams are just needing to win this game, I really prefer the Houston side of this.
Stats, what do you think about this game, Houston and Indy? I don't know. You're making a face here. Do you like the Colts?
I do like the Colts a little bit. to win the game. I think I like the over a little bit more. I do think it'll be a shootout, but my lean here is the Colts on the money line. So I would take that, but I do agree. I don't think either defense is particularly good. I think we'll see a bunch of points. So I like the over the 47 and a half. I think we'll get there. So I'm more confident on that side, but I would pair it with the Colts in a parlay if I was going to take both sides of this game.
0 line movement on the total, 47 and a half. They said it perfectly. So there you go. All right, that's game number 2. Let's move on to game number 3, and that will be a Sunday game, 1:00 Eastern time. We'll start with the Falcons and the Saints. So both teams are playing for stuff here. Saints -3. The total is 42. So no doubt about it that the Falcons trying to win the division, the Saints trying to win the division. It's interesting to target the games where both teams have something to play for. So give me the breakdown here between New Orleans and Atlanta. And again, 41 and a half and the 3-point favorites for the Saints at home. JBC.
I think the Falcons have looked a little better on offense since Heineke came back in. Saints obviously looked amazing last week, but I just, I think the best unit on the field in this game is the Falcons defense. And so, in these types of coin flippy scenarios where both teams are really going to be just, like the last game, you rather back the best unit on the field, which in the last game is the Texans offense. This game is the Falcons defense. I don't see how the Saints are going to, be able to score very many points on them. I prefer Atlanta. I'm going to take the points here.
JBC, you back in the birds, or is it New Orleans bounce back spot?
That was to me, right? I think you said JBC.
Well, I meant stats.
Yes, I am. I'm actually, I like Atlanta, but I disagree in the fact that this is going to be low scoring. I think both teams are going to score. So I do like this game to go over as well. I think this I agree with him where the Atlanta offense, I think, looks a little bit better with Heineke. So I'm expecting points in this game. I'm hoping it's going to be more points out of Atlanta. They win the game outright, but I think there'll be enough points where we get both teams into the 20s and we get this game over the 42 or 42 and a half, whichever book that you have right now.
All right, like button would be great for those of you that have been with us for a while and haven't checked out the bet side. For those of you that are just joining us and haven't checked out the bet side, maybe you're familiar with our DFS side. The bet side is retooled. It is absolutely crushing, and I am really, really excited about what the product has to offer right now, JBC. If you're getting in, again, it's $50, and I'm not happy with you guys. I think it's too cheap. I think the price will be coming up, and I'm hoping you grandfather everybody in. But for $50 for a package that's probably worth about $500 a month, and I'm not kidding you on this, what is everybody getting? Because it seems like they're getting winners from every single sport.
Yeah, I mean, we have specialists in every sport. I'm putting out all kinds, every sport that there is on the board myself. We have prop specialists, Christine and John, Mangone, Rubio, soccer. Bryce comes in with basketball and soccer. We've got people in every single sport. And, we've got the premium plays that we put out every day, 5 plays a day if you're not down with the volume, although the volume yesterday, 58 and 38 yesterday in one day, which was pretty good. But, we put a ton of work into it, and I'm really proud of the product.
Okay.
Don't forget Andy now with the golf stuff too.
Oh, that's true. And we've got Andy now on the golf side.
From Golf Digest. New Year for 15% off your first payment. I'll put it on the scroll on the bottom, but New Year for 15% off. Let's get back into these games. The second game that we're going to discuss on Sunday, Tampa Bay at Carolina. Tampa Bay has a ton to play for. They can win the division. You've got Green Bay and Seattle playing their contest after the game is over. So the Bucs are the 4th seed in the NFC, believe it or not. Winner tie against Carolina with a Saints loss or tie, and things are going very well for them. So again, it's one team that is horrible in the Panthers, but they've got a lot to play for at this point. So let's get it going. Or I should say the Bucs have a lot to play for. Let's get it going here. And again, 4.5-point favorites for the Bucs, 37.5 total. Does Carolina muster enough to beat the Bucs at home, or at least keep it within 5?
I think so. I mean, I think this line is way too high, and I think this is an example of how the market's gotten kind of out of whack with one team playing for everything and one team not. Yeah, Carolina played like shit last week. It's gotten way crazy out of whack. It's not like the Bucs were that much better yet last week than the Carolina was. So 4.5 on the road, it's way too many. I like Carolina.
We got a Carolina homer. Is this a Carolina homer stats, or is he on the right side?
I think he's on the right side. I gave you the last time Carolina won. I gave you that one on the money line, right? And I think they remember that. Yeah, I think it was whatever the last game. They only have 2 of them, right? They only have 2
the Falcons. We beat the Falcons.
Yeah, the Falcon game. I have it on the money line, and I'm going to take this one. You're getting almost plus 200 here on the money line, so I like that. Carolina kind of puts a damper on Tampa's play. I think they could still get in. Tampa, can they still get in if they lose this game?
I think it's if Carolina wins, then it's just whoever wins the Falcons game.
Is that it? Okay.
Yeah, if you would have listened, I told you stats.
I'm sorry. I'm trying to focus on what I'm going to say. Well, that's crazy then, because I'm just thinking, because my aunt's husband, who you would say is your uncle, but after your aunt gets married 3 times, you just can't call the third one Uncle Jerry. But he called me from Biloxi. He goes, "What's because he's a big Bucks fan. He's a Bucks fan. He said, "What's this minus 275 mean on the Bucks to make the playoffs?" So I'm like, maybe they have another chance of getting in, because you can get them at like minus 210, 220 to win the game. So apparently, if that's just an awful line, I told him don't play. Yeah. I guess the ties, yeah. But so I had explained to him what minus 275 means, and then he correctly said, "Boy, that doesn't sound like a good bet." I said, "No, it's not." So
it's not.
So yeah, no, I do like Carolina here. I'll take, like I said, I'll take them on the money line, but I think there's just too many points, and that's why I like the money line too. I mean, with the, I think it should be more like a 3-point game. I think the line should be like 3. So I think you're getting a little bit of value on the money line if you want to take half a unit on the money line, half a unit on the plus 4.5, plus 5.
This is Schlong's dog. I think it's his burner, Mateo. I thought Tampa Bay is unlikely to get in with a loss. So let me read it again. The Bucs are the 4th seed. They go in the division with a win or a tie against Carolina. They need the Saints to lose or tie. If they win or tie with a Seahawks loss and a Packers loss or tie, screw the ties. That never happens. Green Bay and Seattle play after the Bucs game. So the Bucs will be trying no matter what. It doesn't matter. They're not going to stop.
They definitely have to win.
What's up with Baker Mayfield too? Holy shit, this guy. I mean, so efficient, high completion percentage. It just seems like he's grown up a little bit, and he finally has weapons. It's amazing what happens to a quarterback when he has weapons around him, right? I mean, he has shitty coaching, but he's got weapons around him, and Evans and Godwin and White. It's amazing.
He looked like shit last week.
I mean, typically the quarterbacks look good. Most of these guys can play. Obviously, they didn't make it to the NFL. They can't. But so typically, if you have offensive line play, but he's coming from a place that had great offensive line. You see what Flacco's been able to do with some protection. So it's just unusual. I'm surprised by Mayfield this year, but I think he comes up a little short this week.
Okay, our next one is an interesting one. So I was talking JBC about the Minnesota at Detroit game. Detroit obviously coming off the bullshit loss. Amon-Ra St. Brown's pissed off. He's not in the pro. So you got a pissed off team. And the Vikings get 3.5 points, 45.5 total here. JBC. So, I was under the impression that maybe some of these Detroit guys sit. I'm talking to you. Dan Campbell's like a meathead. He's like, screw it. We'll come out. So the assumption as of right now, JBC, is that a lot of these, if not all, the Lions stars are going to play, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So with that being said, what do you think of the side and the total?
I mean, I'm taking Dan Campbell at his word because, I mean, especially after last week, you go for it and then, all that shit happens. And then he's like, fuck it, I'm going for it again from the 7th. Like, that's just meathead, like, I want to fucking win behavior, which I mean, it's great on some level, but in this instance, I think it means that he's going to play all his fucking players. So if he's playing all his guys, that spread's too low. I like the Lions.
I actually like that Mullins is coming back out there because the Vikings just did themselves no service by starting Hall. I mean, this kid's an absolute disaster in the NFL as of now. Mullins' stats is not a good quarterback by any means, but as we saw a couple weeks ago, he could throw the ball up in the air and Justin Jefferson could make a big play a few times a game. And he actually covered because he chucked the ball up in the air to Justin Jefferson and Jefferson came up with a great catch. So you want to make a case for the Vikings, or is this the Lions?
Yeah, my lean is actually on the Vikings on this game. I mean, you talk about that was the ultimate tilt, was going for the 2. I didn't mind going for the 2 to try to win the game, but the tilt was going for the 2 after the 5-yard penalty. I mean, that's like,
that out of my mind. Stats.
It's such a that's
Oh,
the equivalent.
I loved it.
Yeah, I mean, it was funny, but that's the equivalent of, we've got obviously a lot of sports bettors in here, and that's when you go on a bad run and then you just start firing that good money after bad, and that's exactly what he did. So, yeah, I think, I don't know if he's, I honestly don't think he's going to go all the way with the starters in this game. So my lean here is going to be Minnesota, despite what he says. But I know, look, Dan Campbell is a unique bird, he's a unique animal, and he very well might. But even if he does, I kind of like Mullins to put. I think they're going to score. I think regardless, the total is maybe something that you have to look at. I think both teams are going to put points up on the board. I don't like either defense. I think Detroit going into the playoffs is going to struggle just for the fact that they can't really stop anybody. So I think Minnesota is going to put points up on the board.
So you think Dan Campbell's going with just a tip? Really? Because he's not the type of guy that I see.
He's not. He's not. But
he's full bore.
He is.
I don't know why you're laughing. I'm just.
He's also not a guy who's going to ease. He's not going to ease it in either. I mean, he's just giving it to you all in one shot.
Yeah. That can lead to injury.
It could also lead to shooting the load early and maybe taking off the second half. So
I don't know how it got to that, but hey, listen, if that's how you want to interpret things, that's how you'll interpret things. Hit the like button if you got what we were talking about there. If you didn't, hit the like button. That would be wonderful because it helps us with some algorithm. We like an algorithm or two around here. We've got Jacksonville and Tennessee. Now, we don't for sure know Trevor Lawrence is playing yet, do we? The dude's playing. Come on. Jacksonville at Tennessee. Derrick Henry's likely final game as a Titan. Jags minus 3.5, 41 total. Ryan Tannehill starting for the Titans. Mike Vrabel's team going to give it just one more shot. I have not bet this game, JBC, but I feel like divisional game. Trevor Lawrence is legit falling apart. I think his right arm might fall off during this game. I got to lean toward the Titans. Right or wrong?
I agree. I think Tennessee comes out here and wins this game. The Jaguars have looked, other than the game against Carolina, which Carolina's bad. They've looked like dog shit for like a month now. And I don't see any reason to believe a team that's actually competent like the Titans shouldn't be able to keep this within 3-4 points at home. I think it's a bad line. It should be closer to pick 'em.
Should this be a pick'em stats? Because Jacksonville has been a disaster, and I think the whole thing revolves around the health of Trevor Lawrence. I don't think he's a bad quarter. I actually think he's a very talented quarterback. They just run him out there, and he shouldn't be playing.
Yeah, I like Trevor Lawrence, but I think this all. I think my pick here really mostly is because of the fact that Trevor Lawrence is going to play. I don't think he's ready to come back. So I love Tennessee in this game. Plus, you've got. You heard I don't know if you heard Vrabel's press conference. I didn't have to listen to his press conference. He's kind of the same mold as Campbell, where this guy wants to go out there and win the game. So I knew he's going to be playing to win. The other thing that you would think that they're going to pound the ball with Henry if they can, but not they're not going to do that at the risk of losing the game. So he wants to try to win the game and get Henry some carries and some touchdowns, perhaps. So I think for DFS purposes, you're going to want to look at Henry in this game. But I think they slow this game down. They play a grinded out type of game, and they win. I think Lawrence, we've seen Lawrence come back. We've seen Lawrence when he's not at full strength just not be that good of a quarterback, and I think he's in that situation. I don't think if this wasn't a game that they needed, I don't think he's playing this week. So, and I do think he's going to play. So I for that reason, I think Tennessee wins the game outright. And again, this is another one that you're going to want to touch the money line plus 170.
What do you think about a little Derrick Henry anytime touchdown at plus 115? You hate betting touchdowns.
I hate anytime touchdown. JBC doesn't like it either. Yeah, I don't like it. Plus 115 is just not enough for me.
How about 100 yards for Derrick Henry? Can we get anything on Derrick Henry?
The yardage props are a little more.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know what you're talking about, MN.
I would look at his carry at the number of carries, rush attempts.
Yeah, the carries over could be good because also, if the game's close, he's going to be getting the ball more in the fourth quarter than he would normally. So
all right, nice. Kevin makes a good point here. Well, it's actually not a good point, but I want to point out why it's not a good point, but it's a point that everyone throws out there on that's why you parlay it. When you parlay shit with other shit, you get a bigger pile of shit. So if you don't have value on what you're betting, like if there's no value in it, then there's no value. So you just can't take minus 300s and a minus 300 and say,
hold on.
So
hold on. This is it took us 18 weeks for me to learn something on this show. If you parlay shit with more shit, you're going to get
a bigger pile of shit. Yeah.
Okay. This is great. Parlay
and I'm not picking on Kevin. He just made the comment, but you hear it all the time.
Love Kevin.
And it's like, I do like to, and I do use that where if I do like a minus 300, I'll throw it in a parlay, but it's because I saw value on the minus 300, not just because it was a minus 300 and I wanted to parlay it.
That is spectacular. Statsational. We've got Cleveland and Cincinnati next. Bengals -7. I mean, the Cleveland's just thrown out a bunch of jabronis at this point. 37.5 is the total. Now, again, we've got a situation where it's a divisional game. Cleveland doesn't really, it doesn't do anything for them. This game does absolutely nothing for them. But you want to be an outside the box thinker here, JBC. So talk to me. There's no Amari Cooper. There's no Joe Flacco. I would think that Myles Garrett's going to take off too. You want to make a case for the Browns in this one, or is this the Bengals just trying to run it up?
I think that this is the one game that take of they're resting all their guys is actually viable, because the Browns, they have had so many guys get injured this year. And the coach has to have PTSD about how many fucking guys they've had get hurt. So I don't think he's going to risk playing anybody at all, like even for a quarter. Like, I think they're going straight guys off the street, fourth stringers. Like, Cincinnati's just going to beat the shit out of them. Who cares? I think that's where it's going to go.
Stats, little Cincinnati this week against a really bare bones Cleveland team. I don't even know how much Kareem Hunt's going to play. That's how far down the depth chart they're going. Pierce.
Yeah, Cincinnati was the play. I don't know. At 7, it's a little trickier. You had a chance to get this one earlier in the week, sub 7, but I agree. I think even at 7, if I have to make a pick on this one, I think Cincinnati just kind of blows them out. Cleveland's going to do some damage in the playoffs, but I think JBC is right. They're not taking any chances of risking any of these guys. Now, if they win this game, this will be what? This will be 5 wins with 5 different quarterbacks in a state, which I'd have to imagine no one's ever done. So that would be unbelievable if they were able to pull that off. But I do think Cincinnati gets the job done in this game. Cincinnati is with the teams that they're going to put out there on the field, far superior. I just don't know. The 7 is just a big number for me to get my head around. But if I had to, definitely the Cincinnati side.
Is that a tease spot if it gets 7.5?
Yeah, I mean it's that Wong teaser situation. When you tease 7.5 down to
1.5,
down to 1.5, certainly. But I mean you could. I'm not going to get into Wong's, but
I would prefer to just take the Bengals because if the theory is right, then they're just going to fucking murder them, and if the theory is wrong, then the teaser itself is in danger. So then
you take them up to then you look for a little plus money and you take them up to
I do like the laddering on the Bengals too, like laying 20. I like that kind of stuff.
Laying 20. Woo! A Bengals ladder this week. All right, let me write that down. I mean, you guys are getting all this shit for free. Imagine what you get behind the paywall.
They come out early, the Browns are just going to lie down.
All right.
Yeah, there's
Cincinnati ladder possibility this week. Okay, very good. Like button, and then again, you're getting all this information for free. You get so much more information. You go over the top, you get all the plays in our Discord. JBC talks with you in the Discord. Stats is posting bets and props in the Discord. He's talking to you as well. Showdown Christine has been pummeling it with the props. So that's been, I must say though, I'm still a little stunned. 70K on her 16th birthday. That's a 16 a year. Quinceañera is 15, right?
That's 15. Yeah, I know where Christine grew up, so that's not shocking to me.
Silver spoon.
They go over the top over there. Strong Island. I
like dealing with people who grew up on the rough streets, like Stats.
Brooklyn's it's a different. Well, now Brooklyn's different. Now Brooklyn's like, right. A little hoity.
Well, when we were kids, it was an awful place.
Not where I grew up. Yeah, where I grew up was
back in my day. My grandpa actually used to stand on his porch for about 2 hours a night with a baseball bat, waiting for the jabronis to try and steal his car. Not good. So they moved to Florida.
I don't give a fuck, Holden.
I don't care that you don't give a fuck. I do, JBC. I do.
Was that when he was in Brooklyn? He did that?
Yeah, Canarsie. Yeah. He just sit out there on his porch with a bat. Once in a while, chase somebody away.
They used to sit, and my grandparents weren't far from where you were. But they used to sit on the porch and just make espresso, and then everyone would gossip about everybody else on the block. It was awful.
But JBC doesn't give a shit. So it's too bad they're telling these stories to each other, and we're the only one that care. Yeah, Sunday, 4:00. The games start getting a little better here. But before we do that, I have to talk about the Jets and the Patriots game. Very forgettable. Patriots -2 at home, 30.5 the total, possibly Belichick's last game. Aaron Rodgers gets the inspiration award from the Jets teammates. Very inspirational. No doubt. This is a game. Can we make some money on this game, JBC, or is this just a full fade? It's disgusting. The total is as low as it gets. The Patriots are favored. Ugh. Talk to me.
The Jets are better than them, and the Jets are getting 2.5. Like, seems pretty fucking simple to me. I think that people are thinking too hard about this being Belichick's last game. Like, the players really give a fuck. The Jets defense, Patriots aren't going to score. It's going to be like, how are the Patriots going to get any points? Like, I don't see how the Jets don't win.
Stats.
I have to agree with them. I mean, the total is just insane, right? 30.5 NFL total, but I mean, it's hard to even think this will go over. I don't see a lot of points. If anything, this game goes over just because the Jets are going to put more points up. But in every scenario, if this is low scoring, I like the Jets. If it's high scoring, I like the Jets. Like, I just think the Jets win this game. So I like the Jets. I don't know any more to say it, but New England. I agree. I just don't see how New England puts that many. We could figure out the math really quickly. So they're basically saying at 30.5 that New England's team total is like
16.
What, 15, 16
I think I like the under
here,
guys.
That seems like a good bet to me.
New England is not scoring 16 points.
Yeah, that seems like a pretty good.
Yeah, Bill, you're right.
Team total.
We got wins 15-20 with gusts in the 30s. We got 2 dog shit quarterbacks. We got 2 dog shit teams. I don't make a habit of betting under 30.5, but if there was ever a time to do it, guys.
New England's not scoring 16 points.
That seems like a high team total.
That's a defensive touchdown. That's the only way to do it. All right, so should we just bet the under then?
We'll bet the under team total.
No, because I think the Jets might fucking kill them.
All right, so here.
Jets might get some defensive
parlays
scores.
Are shit.
No,
Jets money line, Patriots team total under 16.5.
Right, but then they're going to be the SGP, they're going to scalp the shit out of it, and the correlation is going to be off. I just wouldn't.
Just bet the Jets.
Yeah.
Just bet the Jets or bet the team total. Bet that Patriot team total under. I like that.
Oh boy. Man, I grew up in a trailer park in Florida. Does that count as hard living? It depends. Some people had really nice trailer parks, but it gets back to our conversation. What is the gift at a trailer park wedding? These guys are spending $250 a plate. What do you do for a trailer park wedding? I don't know.
Health
Paper
insurance.
Plates,
no, I mean, dude, I've been to trailer park weddings, and it's like I just give the same fucking gift.
Well, you do, but I do wonder, what's going on there. 4:00 games. Yes, Stats. You wanted to talk about something?
Well, now the joke's not as good. But I was going to say like a free dental exam, but it's not as funny anymore.
JBC liked it. All right. The Packers are 3-point favorites at home against the Bears. They're playing for the playoffs here. The total is 45.5. JBC, let's not forget that this Bears defense has been good since Montez Sweat came along. It really changed things. Justin Fields is playing for his next contract or next team or whatever the hell it is. I think that people saw Green Bay on national television and all of a sudden they're the greatest team in the history of the world. No A.J. Dillon, by the way. Christian Watson probably out. I don't even know if that matters, but see scenario where the Bears cover this, right?
Yeah. I mean, the Bears right now, I think the Bears are the better team. They have the better quarterback. I don't, 3 points. It's a coin flipping game and you're getting 3 points. So take the points. Green Bay is a little overvalued after last week because they beat the shit out of Jaron Hall, who is terrible.
Did you see that?
Yeah.
Isn't that awesome?
I mean, the last wedding I was at was all cowboy boots and then cut off jeans and shit. So, but I like the Bears here. Another situation where I think people were putting too much stock in one team playing for something, one team not. Just because Green Bay is playing for something doesn't mean Justin Fields ain't gonna come out there and whoop their ass. I like the Bears.
So mid-30s in this game, not too much wind. Unfortunately, no snow in Lambeau this year. Didn't get a lot of that. But do the Bears cover on the road? Statsational?
I agree with JBC. I wanted to say what he said, which is I thought it was going to be kind of a hot take, but I think the Bears are the better team now. I think as of where they are at this point in the season, I think we're looking at too much of the season on the whole at where this line is. And the Bears coming in, I think the quarterback has a big game here for the Bears. I think Fields, big game. I think Fields stays in Chicago. I don't think they trade him. If it's me, I don't trade him. I trade the picks. I try to accumulate and try to put a team around him. I think he's come far enough here that you can build a winning team with him. But these teams are like one game apart. I think people are forgetting the fact that in the standings, they're only a game apart. And after this game, they finish with the same record. I think the Bears win the game. And the Bears owe this team. The Packers for how long have the Packers dominated the Bears? I think that snaps.
And they beat their ass in week 1.
Yeah, that streak ends right here. I think the Bears get a little bit of revenge or a lot of revenge in this game. Fields with a big one.
Last year, exact same spot. The Lions were playing for nothing. They needed to beat then they were playing the Packers, who were playing for everything, and the Lions went in there and beat their fucking ass. Same thing's going to happen.
Absolutely.
Well, our next game, my friends, is a very interesting one. Philadelphia and the Giants, the Eagles, 5.5-point favorites. The total is 42. My buddy Jimmy Kemsky points out, he covers the Eagles out there for the Philly Voice. First 9 games, Eagles rushing yards allowed per game, 66. Last 7 games, 150 rushing yards a game. Their secondary sucks ass. There's an upgrade at quarterback for the Giants with Ty God Taylor. Is that enough for the Giants to cover this number? JBC?
We're forgetting now that Devontae Smith is out. That
He's
was
out.
just announced. But no, I don't think it's enough for the Giants to cover. I mean, Philly getting their shit pushed in the last 4 or 5 weeks in a row has gotten their line is so depressed. 5.5 on Green Bay was laying 6 on the road against the Giants a month ago. The Eagles are a much better team than I understand the defense is fucking terrible. They're a bottom 5 defense, but with Hurts at quarterback and how efficient they are in short yardage, I don't see how they don't win this game. I like the Eagles.
Yes, DeAndre Swift downgraded questionable, but he's just sick, so he'll get over that. But yeah, Swift is questionable, and Devontae Smith is going to be out in this game. You would think they pepper A.J. Brown this week. He's been talking so much. They haven't done anything with this guy for a few weeks, and he finally addressed the media. So maybe we got something going on with Brown. 5.5-point stats. Which side are you on?
Yeah, I'm going to disagree on this one. This is another one where I think the dog comes in and even potentially wins this game. Giants only played, this was like 2 weeks ago they played, right, on Christmas Day.
Mm-hmm.
Giants were in that game. A couple of bad plays, they get that defensive score or whatever, but it came right down to the wire, and they had a shot from like inside the 20-yard line, the Giants did, to to win that game. So I think the Giants pull it off this time. I think they actually win the game. There's a lot wrong with Philly. This defense has been a fraud all year. This is not a good defense. I think the points, I think that the actual total, I think, is a little bit low, 42. I think there's going to be a lot more points in this game than that total would lead you to believe. So I like the over, and I think the Giants, another one of these games where I'll take the dog outright.
Yeah. Oh, there you go. You're right. Darius Slay is out too, so throw him in there.
Yeah, there's the potential. Chris makes a good point, but I don't know if that's going to happen. We'll get to that game in a second. But if the Cowboys are up big,
because then what if the Commanders come out and they're up 20-0 and they haven't
right? You really can't cap it. I mean, that there's a potential that happens, but I wouldn't put too much weight in that. And Dallas, who knows if they're even going to be able to get up that much at the halftime.
There's also the fact that the last Eagles coach got fired for benching Jalen Hurts in the middle of a game that they were winning. That literally happened like 4 years ago.
Yes. That was Peterson, right? And he just gave the middle finger to the NFL saying, I don't care about tanking or anything.
So I don't think they're going to pull that shit again.
I actually
the difference is it wouldn't mean anything. That game, he kept someone out of the playoffs by doing it. It was the Giants, right?
Yeah.
He screwed the Giants on that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well. So you were talking about the Cowboys and Commanders. This will be Ron Rivera's last game as a head coach with Washington, and they're sitting so many of their veterans. I mean, they're laying down for the Cowboys. I get it. It's a rivalry game. Nobody gives a shit about this game in DC. It'll be packed with Cowboys fans, no question. Usually it's a 50-50, 55-45 with the Cowboys fans having the advantage. I wouldn't be surprised if it was like 70-30 this week. This will be a Cowboys home game in Landover, Maryland. So talk me here. 13 points is a lot of points, but the already bad Commanders are running out the JV team, 47 total JBC. Do the Cowboys just run away with this thing, or is 13 too much?
It's too many. I like Washington here. Look, it's not like their backups are that much worse than the fucking starters to begin with. The defense was atrocious all year. I just don't. 13 on the road in this type of game with the ability Washington has to put points on the board, they're going to be able to score a little bit with them. So, I'm going to take the 13 here. I think it's too many.
13 points, too many for you? Stats?
It's too many for me. It's rare that I'm going to want to lay those kind of points. So I'm usually either taking them or staying away, and I'll take them in this case. I mean, Dallas just hasn't proven on the road that they could be as dominant as they have been at home. So they played a lot closer games against some weak competition on the road. Coming off that game that they probably shouldn't have won last week. I think this game winds up being Dallas wins the game. I don't think there's any doubt about that, but I agree with the fact that Washington's going to put points up on the board, which lends me to believe that this game goes over as well. So I like almost maybe laddering the total on this game. I think it's going to be a lot of points, and just 13.5, I think is too much. Now, typically you kind of like the favorite in a high scoring game. But I think in this case, Washington gets into the mid-20s at least, and that's going to cause Dallas to have to score 40 points in order to cover.
I'm just, man, the
Washington team total over is a great bet.
I love that over. Yeah, the Washington team total. Yeah.
I mean, they just put Washington just put three of their cornerbacks on IR. Boy, nobody's playing for this team. Literally nobody's playing.
That Washington team total is not too far off of where the Buffalo team, the New England team total is.
17?
Yeah, it's about 17-ish, right?
Oof. That's ugly. That's ugly stuff. We got the Seahawks at the Cardinals next 4:00 game. We got 4 more 4:00 games. We'll do the Buffalo-Miami game as well, and then talk about the national championship game.
Hold on 1 second. The Washington team total should be, just eyeballing it, or like you said, around 17. 16.5 maybe.
Yeah.
So Ron Rivera's going to have to strap up and guard. No one's guarding CeeDee Lamb. It's just not happening. It's just, the guy's unstoppable right now. He has turned into the wide receiver. Every year there's a new best wide receiver. And this year, right now, at least, it's CeeDee Lamb. Every year. I don't know. It's good.
Tyreek Hill's better than CeeDee Lamb.
You know what? You're right. Tyreek Hill 1, CeeDee Lamb 2 this year.
Did you see what Tyreek Hill did the other day? He just showed up at the the American track and field finals for like the men's masters division, which is like just like amateur like white dudes running against each other, and he just smoked the entire field by like
with the hamstring injury. What?
yes, he did this shit by like the entire length of the screen.
What do you think he did to his son for burning his house down?
Oh man, I mean,
probably not good things. They should
we've
probably call a child family investigator on that one.
Anyways,
I digress. Seahawks 3-point favorites on the road in Arizona, 47.5 total. So the Seahawks are the 8th seed, but they need a win, and then they need a Packers loss or a tie. And if that happens, then somehow, some way, Seattle gets into the playoffs here. There's a nice number. It's not like Arizona's just going to be laying down, but it's only 3 on the road in a division game. Which side are you on, JBC?
I think this is pretty simple. Arizona's overvalued after winning that game against Philly last week. Seattle should be laying more than 3. I like Seattle.
Kenny Walker's playing too. Stats?
I agree. This is one of the few where I'm taking the team that needs it to win. I like a lot of the ones that a lot of the teams playing for nothing, but I think Seattle wins this game kind of big. Seattle's a much better team than Arizona. They go in. This is another one where you can ladder it up to double digits. I like a -10 with Seattle and take the plus money on that.
KC at the Chargers. Chargers 3.5-point favorites, 35 total. No Mahomes, no nobody for Kansas City. They're going to take the week off here and see what happens. It'll be interesting from a DFS perspective, but from a betting perspective here, do we really want to lay 3.5 with the Chargers, even though Kansas City's playing their scrubs?
I think so. I mean, it's the same situation as the Browns. You know, the Chiefs are one of the only teams that is legitimately not going to try to win the game. Them and just them and the Browns. So I prefer the Chargers. You know, Sticks had a few games under his belt. He's looked a little better. I just don't see a situation where the Chiefs are able to score enough points to really compete in the game at all.
Stats? Any chance the Chargers cover this thing?
No, I totally agree. Give me the Chargers as well. Same reasons. I mean, the Chiefs. Listen, the Chiefs from the starter standpoint is. I mean, we've seen how bad this offense would look with Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback on the planet, in there. I think they're going to struggle big time in this game to score. They're not going to have a lot of their defenders in the game, so I think the Chargers will be able to put points up. I think the 3.5 is too low. I think they cover this game. I know a lot of sharp money came in earlier in the week when the line was down at like 1.5, but I still think you're good at the 3.5. They cover it.
I think it's another ladder situation. The Chargers might just beat the shit out of them.
Rams at the Niners, boys. At home, the Niners 4-point favorites, 41 total. No Stafford, no Kupp, no Kyron. Puka Nacua needs 4 catches for 29 yards to set all the rookie records, so I think he's going to play for a couple minutes. Outside of that, we got backups galore. Sam Darnold, actually, probably the better quarterback in this situation, isn't he, guys? JBC, Niners -4, 41 total. The 4 points is where I'm kind of iffy on this. The 41 total is interesting. This one I got no take on. Please help me out with the Rams and the Niners.
Yeah, I mean, I like the Niners. I like the way Darnold looked a few weeks ago when he was out there. Purdy obviously is not that great of a thrower, and we've seen what the people around him have been able to make out of him. And I know they're going to be missing a lot of guys, but Darnold has had a lot of starts in the league. I think the Niners they have better depth. They have a better quarterback. 4 is not enough.
It's Wentz versus Darnold stats. Flashback. I mean, you always like Zach Wilson. This Sam Darnold was Zach Wilson, except not as big a dipstick, but he also wasn't a MILF hunter. What do you want to do here? San Francisco and the Rams.
Yeah, I mean, I don't mind San Francisco as a play, but I think the play on this game is the under. I don't think we're going to see a lot of points at all. This has moved down from 42 down to like the 41. The 41.5 is juice, so you're going to get somewhere like 40.5, 41 right now, and I still think the unders is pretty solid. I like what JBC was saying though about Purdy, and that's the whole reason I was bullish on San Francisco to begin with. I thought that was the one team of all the big contenders out there that could afford a loss at the quarterback position, and so I don't think they get hurt all that much with with having a Darnold in there. But of course, it's all about their scheme and just some of the great players like CMC and all those guys. But I think probably San Francisco covers the game, but I don't think we're going to get a lot of scoring at all. So I'm gonna take this game to the under.
Most people watch this after we record it live. So even if you're watching it on delay, a day later, 2 days later, hit the like button. We'd love that. I'm going to plug the site here in a moment before Buffalo, Miami, and then the national championship game breakdowns. But one more game here with the Denver Broncos visiting the Raiders. Raiders minus 2.5, 37 total. It's Stidham on one side, O'Connell on the other side. The Raiders have been playing hard, very hard for Pierce. And on the other side, the Broncos still playing hard for Sean Payton. I think on a DFS side, we're going to see McLaughlin get another double digits in touches here, and Javonte will be healthy next year, and we'll see about the split next year. But here, rivalry game, JBC, the Raiders had the Broncos number. Broncos got one. Do the Raiders get him back again?
Stidham's terrible. I hate that they're putting him out there. This shit with Russell Wilson, it's fucking, I have all kinds of opinions about how it's anti-labor and the fucking Players Association should be suing the Broncos and everything, which I'm sure they will. But the Raiders, I think, are the better team, especially with Stidham out there. And so them only laying 3 at home with how hard they've been playing and how good they've looked, I like the Raiders.
Stats. Do you like the Raiders? 2.5.
Yeah, I kind of like the Raiders a little bit here as well. Don't love the game, but I agree. I think right now, as these teams go out there on Sunday, I think the Raiders are better. It's a little bit of a mess in Denver. I've never been a Russell. I've been a Russell Wilson fan for the talent. I think Russell Wilson is one of those guys. If you ever played sports, and not. You don't run into too many guys like that, but man, if it's not going well, that you just want to punch that guy in the face. Like that's the guy. Like he is so positive that it's fake. He's like fake. He is like a robot out there. So I don't know. To me, I think the players, if I was on that team, like I'd be happy to not see him in the game, because when things are going bad, he would annoy the piss out of me. You heard the story in the Super Bowl when they threw that interception when he came off the field, and Marshawn Lynch told the story. Marshawn Lynch said Russell Wilson's reaction to his teammates was, "Don't worry about it, guys. I'll get him the next time." Like, what next time? That was the last fucking play of the Super Bowl. Like, that's Russell Wilson. So he is annoying as all hell, and yeah, he would drive me crazy. So I would think that the players would be happy to see him not in there when things are going well. But I agree. At some point you have to have some talent at the quarterback, and no, Stidham is terrible. So I like how the Raiders are fighting now for Pierce. I like the Raiders to win the game.
The other thing was that Marshawn and Richard Sherman said they had to go through Wilson's publicist to get him on the phone, which is just absolutely asinine. I mean, and I'm not making this up. Like, this is stuff they said to each other. Like, how do you do that? Like I got to call JBC's mom to pass a message on to JBC. No. That just doesn't happen. Hey, Stats, it's your turn to plug the site here. New Year is the code. New Year, all one word, 15% off your first payment. Bet side, just $50. I can just say this. Probably the best deal, and a deal that shouldn't be around much longer. I believe we're going to grandfather some people in, but ultimately that's up to you guys.
Yeah, we are
$50 for what's that?
We are grandfathering people in.
Yes, good. We finally got word on that. I recommend you get in now. Stats, New Year, 15% off first payment. What are you getting when you sign up for the bet side?
I said, JBC said a lot. We get a lot of bets. I don't even know how many in the course of the day, but my friggin' phone goes off nonstop with bet. And then when JBC gives out like 20 college basketball games, I'm giving out the NBA props on a little bit of a bad run. I gotta call it like it is, but historically they've been good. You're going to go through these runs right now. So hopefully you'll jump in when I'm at a bottom, and we'll hit and we'll start going back up again. But Christine's throwing out some great props for us. And like we said, I'm pumped up to see to kind of tail Andy on his golf picks. I love golf. To me, I think golf's like now probably it's not the biggest, but I think it's the largest growing sport in betting. And So I get a lot of questions about golf. So I'll be hitting Andy up with some questions myself. So yeah, you get all that. And we've also got something in there that I had a hand in building. There's a prop optimizer tool. So if you're into props on Prize Picks or props against the sports books, we've also got something in there called the Sharp app that you can take a look at, the prop optimizer tool. And that's another feature that we've got going on with the bets guys.
Love it. The Sharp app, the prop optimizer, all the other stuff. So you can bet on Belgian middle school soccer. I know JBC grinds that stuff too. And listen, if you're not a volume bettor, if you don't just sit by your computer all day, they do post the premium plays, 5-6 plays, 4, 5, 6 plays where JBC comes up with it. A couple other guys in the front office go and they go through it and they come up with the best plays of the day. And let's also not forget, I'm a dumbass because I haven't tailed every single one of these guys' plays this year. I've been profitable, but every week they come on, they're like, why are you not? Well, guess what? This week I'm tailing every one of your goddamn plays. And then once we get into, I'm really looking forward to the playoffs though, because I'm going to up the unit size a little bit, not to be irresponsible, but I just have too much faith in you guys. So as Javon Town and Russell Wilson,
I'm going to have a big write-up. I'm going to have a big write-up for I'll get that out by the middle of next week for the entire NFL playoffs and like who I like as far as Super Bowl bets. So we'll go over like some statistics and go over each team. And that's a write-up that I do every year. So we'll have that out next week.
2 more games to get to, and one's an NFL game and one is a college game. We got Buffalo and Miami. If you remember, Buffalo just opened up a can. Was it week 1 against Miami? Is this a week 1, week 18 thing between these two teams? The Dolphins hosting this game, Sunday Night Football, 8:20 Eastern. Tyreek's in. Waddle, maybe. Mostert, maybe. A couple of big injuries on the defensive side of the ball. Bradley Chubb, big edge rusher, he's done. And then Xavier Howard. Didn't they sign Cam Wake, who's like 57? He's older than us, stats. So there's some massive defensive injuries here with a red-hot Buffalo team. JBC, 2.5 points. Are we back in Buffalo?
I just want to say Cam Wake. Wait, did they just sign? You're talking about they signed Cam Wake right now?
Like last week, wasn't it?
What?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
He hasn't played in like 5 years. Anyway,
yeah, seriously. Unless I got jobbed and it was a fake
you
story.
Probably got jobbed. I'm so confused by that. So I mean, we've been riding Buffalo ever since they dumped that game to the Broncos. We bet them 55-1 at the Nadir. We bet them 5-1 to make the playoffs at the bottom. Bet them to win the AFC and whatever the fuck it was, 30-1. We're not going to stop now. Buffalo is a fucking train that can't be stopped. They're going to beat the shit out of them again. I like the Bills.
Oh, no, that was a ayahuasca trip that I thought Cam Wake was back. You're right. It's been a little while, hasn't it? There was a report that he was going to sign with them. It doesn't matter. It doesn't freaking matter. It's over for the Dolphins. Stick a fork in them. Stats? Up easy.
I like Buffalo. I like Buffalo because we need Buffalo, as JBC was saying. Got a lot of futures bets, but I'm not a big hedger. I'm not a big hedge guy unless I see an edge on the other side. But man, I think Miami actually wins the game. I think Miami wins this game. I hope not. I got to root against. So I'm not going to bet the game. I've got everything. I've got everything to root for Buffalo. I think Miami actually comes out and wins the game.
The disrespect.
I think it's probably
stats. Can I have a reason why Miami is actually going to win this game?
It's pussy reasons because we've got so many futures on Buffalo. I think that maybe my mind's getting a little clouded and being the how bettors get a little negative. So no, but I do think this is strictly from some of the numbers. Now I know Miami is beat up, so that's part of the problem here. So my numbers may be a little off, but the models are telling me that Miami's the play this week. So I'm hoping that I am incorrect. We need Buffalo, so I'm going to probably not do anything with Miami and just root for Buffalo to come home and then see if we can cash any of those playoff tickets.
Why would you say that, nice Kevin? Why is Buffalo about to make us sick?
Yeah, fuck.
Because we've all got futures, baby.
Fuck that. Buffalo's winning.
Bark at him.
Buffalo's winning this game by 6 points.
I hope so.
26-20.
69 points. Final score Buffalo 69, Miami -7.
What was the week? What was the week 1 score? Was something like that.
Yeah, it was like 50-20.
No, it was
week 1, but it was like it was.
What was it? Week 2?
Well, week 1 was the Rodgers. Week 1, Buffalo lost to the Aaron Rodgers Achilles game. So they lost to the Jets.
When was
it? Was like week 4. I think it was 4. It was like
was it that long ago?
They beat them by a bunch.
3, 4, 48-20, week 4.
It was right after. I think Miami might have like the week before destroyed Denver.
Yeah. That was a spot of the century.
48-20. It was like 70 to something.
The score, it was like a pick 'em or something.
2.
Yeah, it didn't work out too well for them.
Anyways, that was as free as this one is. Fuck you, John. Miami's getting their ass kicked.
Yeah, take that.
I'm fine with it. Look, I'm fine with it. I'll be rooting for Buffalo, but that's just my pessimism showing through. Oh, 70. I thought they scored 72. Was the record 72? Is that what it was?
Yeah, the Bears scored 72 or 73. Like
72. I think the Bears won. 72-0 one year.
All right, we got a free basketball show coming up, so let's hit this national championship game. Washington, Michigan is the matchup. Wolverines 4.5-point favorites, 56.5 total. My God, both of the semifinal games were just terrific. The Michigan game was tremendous. They're down 20-13 late against the Crimson Tide. They go on to win in overtime. JBC, what do you make of the side, the total? What are you going to this game for? Just because you love college football?
One of my best friends is a big Michigan guy, so I, got DraftKings to send the tickets over. Thanks, DraftKings, as a gift for him.
Nicer to you.
We've been against Washington half the fucking season. The numbers just don't bear out as well as they've been fucking playing. They've cost me so much fucking money at this point, and we're about to get it all back because Michigan's going to beat the shit out of them.
Ooh. Stats, is Michigan going to beat the shit out of them, as JBC says?
Yeah, I was about to say the same thing. I'm like, I don't know how many times I could bet against Washington and have it shoved in my ass. I'm like, I guess one more time. I mean, Michigan should cover this game, but what's interesting, I saw some sharp money come in on the over 55.5, and it really hasn't moved the line. I mean, I guess it's 56.5 now, so it has moved it up a little bit. So yeah, I mean, I would be surprised if the game goes under. So I do like this. I like the over, and I mean, boy, if Washington national championship would be just
the Pac-12 league
would be insane. But I mean, it's not out of the question. It's only a 4.5, 5-point game. But I agree. I think Michigan wins it, but I like the over. So I'm going to take this one on the over, and just hope that Washington doesn't do it to us again.
Makes 2 of us or 3 of us, but that'll do it. Great show, guys. Great season. We'll do it next week. We'll have 6 more NFL games to talk about, including a Monday night wild card game, which is really cool. I love that. So we get Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, a little 3-gamer. So our loved ones are not out of the woods yet as far as a lot more football. We got back-to-back Saturdays. We got a Monday night coming up on Monday as well. So that was pretty deep. JBC, good to see you, man. Have a good time at the championship game. Stats, great to see you, buddy. Mardon Yeezy, you're right. Great show. No question about it. And New Year 15% off. New Year for 15% off your first payment of a planned DFS bets or both. Keep running pure.
Go, boy.